What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to be talking about Mark Scheifele and the early season dominance that he's shown here. This is a guy coming off of career numbers just a season ago. Last year, he played 82 games, notched 39 goals, 48 assists for 87 points, and we all thought that was, fairly impressive, as it is. Big year from Mark Scheifele, and a big reason the Jets were where they were last year. But this year, he comes in and says, yeah, I'm going to blow the door down, in the first week. He's played 9 games. He has scored 8 goals, which is tied for tops of the NHL currently as I'm making this video. I know it's early on, but 8 goals in 9 games. The guy's been on a mission, 13 points on the season. Mark Scheifele has taken his game to another level here early on when the Jets desperately needed him to. Now we take a look at this Jets forward core. That first line is extremely talented, and they've been relied on a ton this year, especially with the injuries up front to Lowry and Perfetti. There's nobody that's really, not a good player in this lineup. I think there's players that are better than others, obviously. But if you take a look at the first line and then look at the drop-off for the rest of the lines, that first line's been relied on a ton. They've needed Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor, and Gabe Vilardi to be their guys, and they have been their guys through the first few games of the season here. We are still early on, but this is a very good trend for Winnipeg because, with all those injuries, we weren't really sure what was going to happen, until some of them came back. I know it thinned out the roster quite a bit, but they've been able to tread water here. Not all the games have been Picasso's, especially on the defensive side, but offensively, the Jets have been able to find goals on the power play. That's been clicking really well. Scheifele's been a big part of that, scoring 3 goals on the power play out of his 8 so far, so, he's locked in there. He's looked really good on that unit. But what I'm trying to get at here is, that top line is by far the most talented line the Jets have in terms of, offensive production. And I was a little bit worried that no one else would be chipping in. We've seen the chip-ins here and there, but it really has been those top guys. It really has been Mark Scheifele leading the charge here. At least through the first 9 games of the season, he's really taken over. And it's not uncommon to see Mark Scheifele start hot, but if we remember a year ago, he did suffer, I believe it was a hand injury, and he wasn't able to, play at 100%. He was still contributing, but, the goals definitely took a hit early on in the season. But the Team Canada roster for the Four Nations tournament got announced, and he got snubbed. And that was really like the day it all clicked for him. Like, he just kind of woke up, right? And he started going on this tear. I think that really bothered him, right? I think it really bothered him that he didn't make that Team Canada team for the Four Nations. I think a lot of people, in hindsight, looking back at that roster, were like, wow, can't believe Mark Scheifele didn't make this team. And, you could argue, really either way at the time about it. But, I'm sure that really bothered Mark Scheifele, that he wasn't a part of Team Canada. Now, with the Olympics this year, I'm sure that is a massive motivator, not only just for himself, but, a lot of players around the league to make that team, to go all out here and get selected for that roster. If Mark Scheifele, doing what he's doing right now, if this continues, does not make that Team Canada roster, there's something wrong. Because this guy is on a mission, as we've seen. I don't know how you can deny him a spot, if he keeps playing the way that he is playing. Just an offensive force, overwhelming the opposition. And, with the extra minutes that he's been able to get this year, with the lineup a little bit thinner than the Jets would have liked out of the gate, with the injuries to Perfetti and Lowry, he's just become that much more important. He's shown that he can step up in the big moments. He can be relied on in the big moments. And, he's going to be playing with some very good players over there on Team Canada. Canada's always, one of those teams that's in the end of those tournaments. So, to suggest that Mark Scheifele shouldn't be on that team, I think you're crazy. And, he's always been a guy that's kind of, always been on the bubble of those teams, right? Like when you make up, those mock lineups and everything, Mark Scheifele is sometimes on that 4th line, sometimes off the 4th line, right? I think it would be crazy if he's not, absolutely 100% solidified on that Olympic roster if he keeps going the way he's going. I just feel like he's always been, maybe a little bit overlooked, and this year he's really showing up. I don't know how you can overlook Mark Scheifele at this point. Great player, veteran player, and a guy that would fit great on that Canadian roster. So we'll see what happens, obviously. once they pick the rosters and everything, but I would be shocked if Mark Scheifele isn't there. Another thing with Mark Scheifele is that he has now passed Blake Wheeler for the most points in the Jets/Thrashers franchise history. Blake Wheeler had 812 points. Mark Scheifele now has 817 and counting in 888 games, all played with the Winnipeg Jets, of course. Dale Hawerchuk played a big part of Mark Scheifele's life, obviously coached him in junior. They had a very close connection. Dale Hawerchuk passed away from cancer not too long ago here. Mark Scheifele has stated many times that his goal is to, pass Dale Hawerchuk, is to catch that record. That's the one that means the most to him. Of course, it's different franchises. I know, like Jets 2.0 and 1.0 aren't in the same category. It's kind of stupid. But Mark Scheifele wants to catch Dale Hawerchuk. Hawerchuk had 929 points as a Winnipeg Jet. We'll see if Mark Scheifele can catch that. Probably not this season, but I would imagine that before the career is over, Scheifele will be well past that. He'd probably have over 1,000 points. But Dale Hawerchuk, big part in Mark Scheifele's life. I'm sure that's something driving him as well. Mark Scheifele's father obviously passed away last year. I'm sure that's another motivator, but, just really happy for Mark to see him, in a good place after last year, because the way it all ended last year, just broke my heart, broke everybody's heart here in the franchise, seeing it go the way it did. Obviously, he scored that goal in the Dallas game. It was the first one, I believe, and then in overtime, he took the penalty to stop a goal. But Dallas ended up scoring on the power play in overtime, and it was just a tough scene watching Mark Scheifele in the box there. Adam Lowry had to go get him out. It was just, it was just really sad, and I'm happy he's in a good place now. But yeah, that was really rough last spring, and I'm happy he's in a better place now. But Mark Scheifele is on a torrid pace right now. He's been asked to step up. He's been asked to take on even more responsibility, even more ice time, even more, big moments against the best in the NHL, and he has only succeeded. Mark Scheifele is the guy right now. Will it continue to go this well? We'll have to see, but I really do believe that this could be the first year that Mark Scheifele hits, the 90-point plateau, maybe even more, just the way it's going, just the way he's being put out in so many offensive situations this year. And, I can't wait to see how it unfolds for him. This has been so much fun to watch. But what do you guys think about Mark Scheifele and the Winnipeg Jets this year? I don't really know how you can think anything else than, wow, this guy rocks. But I want to hear about it all in the comments down below. Leave a comment. Tell me about your thoughts. But with all that, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Go Jets, go. Bye-bye.